In our second pre-election segment, we turn to one of the 4 candidates running for District City Councilor from Allston and Brighton in District 9. We'd like to welcome Abigail Furey. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I moved to Allston in 1993. I've lived in the district ever since. I'm a business owner, and I have been very active for the last decade in development issues in the community. I was very involved with the reopening of the Chestnut Hill Reservoir and the renovations in that area, taking down the fences, putting in the new pathways, making it handicapped accessible, and I'm very proud of the changes that has made on the Cleveland Circle area. But I've also been involved in the Boston College expansion issue, very closely involved in that. And over time, dealing with the process, dealing with City Hall, running into roadblocks, feeling that our representation within the community was not listening to a lot of its constituents, had a lot of influence on me making the decision to run for City Council.
So why did you get involved in these things? You seem to care about them. What made you do it?
I really care about the community. I think we live in a wonderfully diverse community. I think that there are some concerns about the future direction of the community. And a lot of these things, as I said, have come through the development end. I think that you need to, I'm not anti-development, I'm perfectly happy to see good projects go forward. But I think in an urban environment, green space is incredibly precious. Allston Brighton has the lowest green space percentages in the city of Boston, and you see these, something like helping protect or improve the reservoir area, or worrying about the conservation sub-district at the Boston College expansion, or looking at the Harvard complete restructuring of a section of Allston. You want to see some green space put in there. You want to see things that will contribute toward a vibrant, healthy community down the line.
Now, what you ideally want in a city councilor is someone who could stand up for all the different kinds of stakeholders, yes, in a balanced way. Mm-hmm. Why should voters think you're the person who can do that?
I think that right now, I don't think things are balanced. I actually think that you start off with who the residents of the community are, what is beneficial to the community. That the institutions are obviously a very integral part of the community, but their job is to ask for the moon. Our city councilor's job is to make sure that the residents are also respected and protected in a process. And I think that takes leadership. I think it takes looking forward toward the future and understanding exactly how these plans all tie together, and some strength. And I think that we're not getting that right now.
One of the other concerns that has a tie into development in a way is that schools have been closing in Allston and Brighton. These are mostly schools outside the public school system. Yes. And the nature of the neighborhood is changing. Do you see yourself doing something about that? Yes,
I actually think this is a very big concern of mine. I think a lot of the transition that is occurring in Brighton is not family friendly. And I think that we need to work at keeping the community a better, stronger, healthier community for where people would want to raise their children. I mean, schools are a big issue on that. Right now, we've had a lot of changes in the school program in this last year. We closed the Hamilton and the Garfield School. We merged it into one larger public school at the Edison, and I think that shows some pretty good promise. What's a little bit tricky right now is that our schools seem to be doing okay, but they're pretty limited and they're under-enrolled. And without more families, we could lose some of those schools.
What would you do about that, though? Because it could take a while to get more families to move into the neighborhood.
I think we need a commitment to give these programs a chance to take root and show improvement. Because the biggest reason for families to move out of the district really is quality of life issues in schools. Quality of life is things, concerns about drunken student behavior, things along those lines. I think that we can, it's possible if the university and the community really gets together and there's a will, we can rectify that. There's been improvement in the last 2 years. But the schools need to be given the resources, the backing, and time time to take root. Don't give these programs just 2 years and then say it's not working, close another school.
Quality of life, a few things bedevil people as much in District 9 as bed bugs and rodents. But
Yes.
Can you really disagree about what to do about those things?
I don't think we disagree about it. The biggest problem is there has been no action certainly on the rats. The rats, I cannot explain how you can have a front page article in the New York Times 4 or 5 months ago and still not have responded to garbage pickup in Allston. I find that shocking that the city is not more embarrassed or more on top of this.
Is it strictly about garbage pickup? Because before some people were pointing fingers at Harvard, and Harvard said, no, don't blame us.
No, you know what? Harvard moved forward with the big science project, and when you do digging, there is a problem where the rats are displaced. But when they were displaced, they figured out that there was garbage on the streets of Allston. So, and the way rat population works, the more food you give them, the more they reproduce. They get bigger and they reproduce at a much faster rate. So you need to be on top of these explosions immediately. And in the meantime, I mean, Harvard talked about donating some and placing some garbage cans back in May. I haven't seen any program move forward. The city hasn't I mean, you pick up garbage twice a week in the Back Bay. Yes, it's a wealthier community, but Boston, we're all part of the city of Boston.
So you're for one more pickup every week then, right?
I think for now. I think certainly while you have a crisis, I mean, this is a health crisis and a serious problem that's only growing. It's growing, it's multiplying, it's getting worse. Pick up the garbage, inspect the dumpsters. It's a high density area. The dumpsters behind the apartments, a lot of them are old, have holes in them that rats can run in and out of the bottom. Secure the garbage. And that will start slowing things down as far as reproduction.
Every council is going to do something about city budget, and there are still some reasons to worry about next year. And just recently, the council and the mayor went along with a new increase of the meals and lodging tax in Boston. Would you have voted for that?
I have to say, I think that that's something that hurts the constituents in our district. I do understand that there's a big temptation to go after the tourist dollar, so the people outside of the community. But Allston Brighton actually is a community where we have a lot of more moderately priced restaurants and pub-style places, and it actually, if you go out to any of the local restaurants, you're going to run into your neighbors there. So this increase definitely is also hurting the pocketbook of the local residents. So I think I would have opposed that.
Okay. We have a no vote for that.
Okay.
I want to come back to the development issue with the colleges. One development that's getting a bit of debate right now is how Harvard would replace the Charlesview development in Allston. And there are some people who would go along with just pretty much transferring what's there into a nicer building, and some other people want a greater mix of income. What do you think about this?
Actually, that plan's a little bit more complex than that. I have spoken to all the neighborhood groups involved with that. Obviously, the Charlesview people want a new place to live. They want a new, nicer place to live. Charlesview has a lot of, it's not being very well maintained at the moment. What the community groups are looking for is a more diverse mixture, but they're also looking for some more land, because right now the design is close to being, is close to having great potential for a real community building project. But without a little bit more space, a little bit more land, it's not going to work. It's too tight. It doesn't have, once again, any green space. It doesn't have, or it has such a nominal amount. It needs a little more space and a little bit more home ownership opportunity to make it a well-balanced project. So, and Harvard's sitting on all this empty land up there. We're looking for Harvard to part with some of that. Not give it, but part with it.
One other topic that's coming up in this race is about access to emails. Of course, people in Brighton were concerned about BC expansion, getting emails about that from the BRA. For the layperson out there, why is it important to get hold of this stuff?
Okay, well, I can tell you that having been involved with the BC project, there were a lot of missing pieces to why the project went through. We kept asking for studies. We kept asking for any documentation on why they felt that this plan was not harmful to the neighborhood, or what convinced them that it wasn't harmful to the neighborhood. After months and months and months of hedging, hawing, and runarounds, They finally produced some emails for us through a Freedom of Information Act. It took 3 or 4 times. It took escalation to the Secretary of State's office, whatever. Now we find out that city employees, key city employees, have said point blank that they've been deleting their emails and that the emails have been deleted at both the mayor's office and the BRA. Now I wonder if we've ever gotten the whole picture. This might explain why there's gaps in the information.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much for being with
Thank
us.
you.
City Council candidate in Allston and Brighton, District 9, Abigail Furey. We'll have more news in a moment after this message. Great. Well, thank you very much.